They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
For many years, people have debated on whether or not video games should be considered as an art form. Some say that they aren't because of their interactivity, and some say that they are because of the visual imagery and storytelling that is found within them. However, there is one game that has been a massive contributing factor in this discussion, and that game is the original BioShock. All of it began with the man himself, Ken Levine, and the game development studio, Irrational Games. Despite having many of the game's mechanics and concepts mapped out from the beginning, nobody really knew what the game would end up looking like. BioShock went through many different concepts that would have steered the direction of the game a lot further from the game we have today. There were many different settings that were cycled around for this game, such as a derelict spaceship and even a Nazi laboratory during World War II. Eventually, however, they landed on the beautiful yet dark underwater city of Rapture. Rapture inevitably became one of, if not the most, iconic video game cities ever created. From the amazing art deco that paints the city's walls, to the fascinating relationships between the big daddies and little sisters, Rapture truly is a sight to be seen. And in the end, it has open-ended gameplay that breaks many gaming trends, with the beauty of the world of Rapture being wrapped in a story about objectivism, addiction, and what it means to be your own person, what it means to have control over your own life. So, without further ado, let's dive into the deep story of BioShock. We open with our main protagonist, Jack, reminiscing on his time with his family on an airplane before his plane ends up crashing in the middle of the ocean out of seemingly bad luck. With nowhere else to turn to, Jack swims towards an eerie-looking lighthouse, since it's his only chance at safety. As Jack walks to the lighthouse, the lights shoot on, and we're greeted with an ominous feeling. It feels peaceful, but off, like we're walking through something hollow, a shell of what it once was. That ominous feeling is mitigated when we enter a bathysphere that welcomes us with open arms by showing us a presentation about what exactly we just stumbled upon.
I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture.
Just like that, we're hooked. We're left standing, staring in awe at the beautiful architecture of Rapture. How could this place even exist? What's its story? After that ominous opening, it seems like we just stumbled upon Sanctuary. But oh boy, were we wrong. In front of our own eyes, a woman kills a man that was trying to help us. She then destroys the bathysphere that we're in, leaving us isolated down in the city with no way for us to escape. This woman is a splicer, one of the many citizens of Rapture that were driven insane after becoming addicted to Adam, a substance that gives people superhuman abilities. As the splicer slowly walks away, we're greeted by the friendly voice of a man named Atlas, who guides us throughout this dark city. He's the only person we can trust since everybody else here lacks any bit of sanity. After venturing down the dark paths of Rapture and fighting more splicers, Jack thinks it's a good idea to inject a huge needle into his forearm for no reason. Good one, Jack. And with the use of that needle, Jack now has the power of the Plasmids in his hand, the same power that the splicers are addicted to. BioShock manages to create a gameplay loop that defies many of the trends that we've come accustomed to in FPS games. These Plasmids that Jack acquires throughout the duration of the game is one way it manages to do that. Plasmids help give you an edge in combat, with each plasmid having different uses. The Electrobolt plasmid allows you to shock your enemies, leaving them vulnerable for an attack. The Incinerate Plasmid allows you to, as the name suggests, incinerate your enemies, leaving them to burn. There are 11 Plasmids for you to choose from, with each Plasmid having their own various levels. So you're left to pick and choose which one you want to use, and which ones would fit how you want to play the game. There are also many different types of weapons for you to choose, from revolvers to shotguns to machine guns. These tools of destruction help you annihilate your enemies. Alternating your use of the plasmids and your use of the guns gives you a lot of freedom on how you want to tackle the combat encounters. This open-ended structure applies not only to the combat, but to every other aspect of the game as well. BioShock doesn't hold your hand like a lot of other games do. It respects the player's intelligence by leaving them to figure out where to go and what to do by themselves. This truly makes Rapture and everything in it feel like a sandbox for you to utilize to your own advantage, and that is essential when going further down into Rapture. The only person that is giving us any guidance down in this city is Atlas, who's guiding us in hopes of finding his wife and son, Moira and Patrick. With the help of Atlas's guidance, we're given more insight into the world of Rapture and learn more about what exactly is going on here, such as, for example, the Big Daddies and Little Sisters. The Little Sisters were just normal little girls that were changed for the sole purpose of producing more Adam. The Big Daddies are their protectors, guiding the Little Sisters around to help find more corpses to harvest Adam from. Eventually, we end up encountering the Little Sister and meet a woman named Bridget Tenenbaum.
Stay away from her or it is you who will be shot next.
Easy now, Doctor. He's just looking for a wee bit of Adam. Just enough to get by.
I'll not have him hurt my little ones.
It's okay, lad. That's not a child. Not anymore, it ain't.
Here. There is another. Use this. From their torment. I will make it to be worth your while. Somehow.
This is a choice that repeats throughout the game. We're given the chance to fight various Big Daddies, and after defeating them, their little sisters are left alone. That's when the choice is left up to you. Save the Little Sisters or harvest them in favor of getting more atoms so you can get new plasmids. The choice is yours. After rescuing or harvesting the Little Sister, and after fighting our way through multiple different districts of Rapture, we're finally met with the chance to meet Atlas and his family. Happy ending, right? Yeah, no. Up to this point, Atlas has basically been our right-hand man, helping guide us throughout the entire game. So witnessing his wife and child being murdered by Andrew Ryan makes us grow even more attached to him. That right there is the power of sympathy. Anyway, as we continue to travel through Rapture with an enraged Atlas, we eventually end up stopped dead in our tracks after encountering a roadblock in a place called Fort Frolic. Mysterious man is Jack the Line, taking control, and that man is an artist named Sander Cohen.
Oh, Cohen, you sick fuck, let me out of there! Calm down now, little more.
This sick artist puts us up to the task of killing 3 men and taking pictures of their bodies, all so they can be displayed in his morbid art piece. After completing our endeavors with Cohen, he sends us back on our way to Hephaestus. And as we arrive, Atlas gives us one final request.
Now, would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
And that's exactly what we strive to do. For Patrick. For Moira. As we make our way to Andrew Ryan, he shows us his confidence by throwing swarms and swarms of splicers our way, and mocking us while doing so. However, that confidence doesn't last forever. As we overload the core, Ryan goes full-on Resident Evil mode by activating Rapture's self-destruct sequence. But fortunately, it doesn't self-destruct soon enough. It's time to end this and kill that son of a...
In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm, a family, an airplane, a crash, and then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash? Or was it hijacked? Forced down. Forced down by something less than a man, something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kindly master. Was a man sent to kill, or a slave? A man chooses. A slave obeys.
This entire time you thought you had control? No. You never did.
Stop, would you kindly? Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Ladies and gentlemen, the plot twist of all plot twists. What makes this revelation so great is not only the subtle hints that were dropped throughout the game, but also how it directly serves as commentary on all of the gaming trends that BioShock set out to break. Mindlessly following all the orders that are given to you, walking from point A to point B in a linear format, all of that comes into play when we realize that we were being mind-controlled from the beginning. Rarely in games do we ever think twice about doing what we're told. We want to progress through the story, so we do what's necessary to do that, that being constantly following orders. In a typical first-person shooter campaign, we're not in control, the game is. And what do you know? Jack was never in control. Everything he knew was fake. All of the memories of his family and the farm life that he was reminiscing about in the beginning of the game were nothing more than fake memories that were implanted into Jack as a baby. Even Jack's age is a lie. He's technically 4 years old, but was programmed to age rapidly, and as such, now he has the body and mind of a man in his 20s. And in the end, they programmed him with a code phrase that would control his every move. Would you kindly? Who was in control this entire time? We'll get to that soon enough. But here we are, left with Jack to break that control. A man chooses, a slave obeys. And we are a slave to no one. Not this time.
A man chooses. A slave obeys. Obey!
So, it's over, right? Oh no, it gets worse.
Nice work, Bio. There ain't no Atlas, kid. The name's Frank Fontaine.
There was no Atlas. It's all been criminal Frank Fontaine literally playing you from the beginning, just so he can take control of Rapture for himself. Fontaine, this person we've been hearing a ton about throughout the game, was right next to us the entire time, and we had no idea. In a strange way, Atlas, or now Fontaine, has been the real player throughout all of this. He's been mind-controlling Jack with the "would you kindly" phrase since the beginning, making Jack do things that he otherwise might have not done, like, for example, hijacking an airplane. Anyway, now Jack is forced to deactivate Rapture's self-destruct sequence through the use of Ryan's genetic key, and he proceeds to walk right into Fontaine's trap. Surprisingly, however, this script becomes flipped when the little sisters come out and help us escape. We're no longer helping them, they're helping us. We wake up in Tannenbaum's hideout, and thankfully, she's helped undo some of the mental conditioning. Now, it's a race to the finish line as we have to search for the antidote that helps break the spell, and thankfully, we do. And now, we're off to defeat Fontaine himself, who's now spliced up beyond recognition. This Frank Fontaine boss battle isn't particularly great, but it gets the job done well enough. We shoot Fontaine and drain him of Adam until eventually, the job is done. Now, with everything done, there's only one thing left, and that thing is determined by your decisions throughout the game. If you harvested the little sisters, first of all, you're a monster. Second of all, Jack basically becomes the new Frank Fontaine, leading the Splicers to invade the overworld and taking control over nuclear weapons. If you saved the little sisters, however, Jack becomes a beacon of hope by becoming a surrogate father to the many little sisters. And by doing this, he gives them the one thing he always wishes he had: a family. As the credits roll, we're left reflecting on everything that just happened, and wow, it was amazing. Even on repeat playthroughs with or without New Game Plus, it still hits hard every single time. BioShock is an incredibly complex and nuanced game through and through, with its story, gameplay, and designs having many different layers to them and small details that provide depth. Thanks to those details, Rapture truly feels like a fully realized city, and that's really where BioShock shines. The environmental storytelling in this game is amazingly beautiful. One thing is certain, this is a very artistic game. BioShock combines many different forms of art, such as beautiful music, paintings, sculptures, graphics, and acting, as well as adding interactivity into the mix to create a story about paving your own path and making your own choices. In the end, BioShock, in all of its video game glory, exemplifies the art of control. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this BioShock retrospective analysis video. I honestly had a ton of fun crafting this, putting it together because, it was fun to dive deeper into one of my favorite games of all time, even if it ended up being kind of a pain to make. Very time consuming, but I feel like it was worth it in the end. Before I go, I want to take a quick moment to thank a couple of people. Firstly, I'd like to thank AJTS, or AJ 3rd Street, as you can see on the screen. He's a content creator who I deem a pretty good friend of mine. He's helped me a ton with the process of crafting this whole channel, and I really appreciate that. He also makes pretty good content, so would you kindly go over to his channel and sub to him to show him some support? I'd also like to give a thanks to Survival Spheres, who created the amazing ambient music you're listening to right now. They gave me permission to use this track in my video, and I really appreciate that. I love the music they create, so go over to their channel and sub to them as well. Maybe you'll end up liking their other pieces of music as well. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and see you all later.